my name's Artemis, and do you ever get that paranoid feeling that everybody around you hates you? Well, sometimes they do. I'm sorry, that's the truth. Sometimes we do things that have effects on other people that we just don't take on board, and we really should. And I think it's very important to examine what those things are, because I'm pretty certain you're not doing them deliberately. It's not a conscious effort, and they're very easy to fix. And sometimes you just need to know what the problems are to fix them and continue having a healthy relationship. So that's what we're going to do. This isn't meant to target, this isn't meant to belittle, it's meant to help. But we're going to try and do that now and figure out some ways that people might be pulling away from you and how you can reverse that. Now, you can talk a big game, you know exactly what to say, but you never actually do shit about it. This is something that's going to drive people away. And quite frankly, it should. This is not a good behavior. This is not a good pattern. It's not productive or healthy for you or anyone around them. And every single time you make a promise, every single time you say, I'm going to change this, I'm going to stop doing that, I'm going to be better, you are gambling somebody's trust that they have in you. You are saying, okay, I'll see that and I raise you a promise. If you don't deliver on that promise, that trust is gone. And everybody has a limit as to how much of that they're going to tolerate. So if you are going to constantly be saying, I can do better, I will do better, I will be better, better, but you never actually do anything about it, eventually there comes a point where you don't have any trust left to gamble. And all of your words are meaningless. And there's no point sticking around you anymore, because all you do is say what people want to hear rather than the actual truth of the matter. To fix this, you need to step back and truly examine whether you are just being a people pleaser and trying to tell people what you want them to hear, what they want to hear from you, just so that they stick around, or whether you are actively taking this information on board, recognizing that it is something that needs to change and figuring out ways to actively change it. This is a very important one. So this one's going to be quite big and quite difficult to talk about, but we're going to fucking get into it, because we all have some history, some issues, some conditions, something that affects the way that we see the world, how we act, how we react, and our behavior. We all have something like that. And that is totally justifiable. It definitely has an impact on the way that we process information, personal relationships, and all of that jazz. And that's totally acceptable, and that's totally valid. You know, no one should ever really be targeting you just because you process things slightly different. But on the other end of that stick, there comes the point where no matter how valid you are, no matter how reasonable it all might be, there is a very big difference between using it as an explanation for your behavior and using it as an excuse for your behavior. You see, when you offer an explanation, you are offering perspective. You are taking a second to stand aside and say, okay, there has been a misunderstanding. This is how I am perceiving things. Because of these issues, because of these things in the past, or because of this condition, this is how I am wired, this is how I'm perceiving it. I recognize it may not be the truth, but this is where I'm coming from. So now that you have seen my perspective, maybe we can find a way forward, and you can offer me your perspective, we can find some middle ground, and we can figure out how to find a productive solution to our problems. That is wonderful, that is healthy, that is amazing. You should be doing that at every turn. But unfortunately, it's very easy for your defenses to come up, for your paranoia to come up, because you're not doing this deliberately, you're not doing this to hurt people or to affect them. You don't have control over this. It's not fair. And you're right, it isn't fair. I fully fucking agree. And then you offer it as an excuse. And you don't mean to, obviously, but I'm reacting like this because of this thing out of my control. And that has the little assumption that you're expecting people to just be okay with it. And it doesn't matter how valid your feelings are. It doesn't matter your history, your conditions. It doesn't matter how out of your control this is. It still has an effect on other people. It still causes effects in responses and reactions in other people. Just as justified and valid as you are with your reactions, other people are as well. Okay? This is not some sort of get out of jail free card. It is an explanation, it is perspective, and it has to stay that way. Otherwise, people are going to back away because they're going to start thinking, I can't do anything right. I clearly am just hurting this person. I don't understand. I can't find a way to do this right. Damage control. The easiest way to not do any more damage is to just back off entirely. And that's what happens. You need to be examining exactly where things are coming from. Put yourself in another person's shoes. Figure out, okay, are they aware of this? Are they doing this deliberately? Never assume malice when stupidity is just as fucking likely an answer, okay? Shout out to Switch for that quote. Because a lot of the times people aren't deliberately being a dick to you. They're just not thinking it through fully. Give them that perspective. That's how you fix this stuff. Try and put that gut reaction of everyone's attacking me aside and look at it logically in terms of, okay, what's their story? Because this is my story. What's their perspective? We'll find the truth in the middle and we'll figure it out. That's how you fix that. Now, for many, many people, myself included, a way that you show that you care about someone is to offer and ask for advice. And that happens for a lot of us. We all have people in our lives that we love, that we care about, that we want the best things for. So when they have problems and they come to us, we're instantly like, yes, let's do this. Let's fix this problem. Let's find some solutions. Let's solve it. I want to help you. You have helped me so much in my life. This is how I feel valuable. This is how I feel like I am an equal part of this relationship, because now I have the opportunity to help you, and I'm going to. The best way I know how. And this is a really good thing. This is very helpful. This is very healthy. This is very good that people are constantly working together. But if you are the sort of person that is constantly whining about a problem, constantly bitching, constantly upset, constantly looking for that sympathy vote, constantly looking for that comfort, but not actually actively working on these problems, you are going to be damaging the relationship there. You see, this is how people feel a connection with you. And you are not obligated or obliged in any way to act on any of the advice that you are given, even if you ask for it, beg for it. You never need to actually have to do these things. But if you keep asking for help, if you keep crying, if you keep wanting this comfort and this sympathy, and then actively do nothing about the situation, and the situation just carries on, and you still want people to be a shoulder to cry on, there's going to come a point where that person feels useless, feels powerless, feels like they are letting you down. They are seeing you in pain. They are seeing you struggle, and they are not good enough to be able to stop that for you. They're not good enough to be able to help you. That's what's going to be going on. For your sake and their sake, they tend to distance themselves. They don't want to be an enabler. They don't want to enable this behavior in you. They want things to be better, and if they're not letting that happen, if they're standing in the way, they'll step back. And from your point of view, if they've said everything, then there's nothing left to say. There's only so much someone can do. And this is a very difficult one, because a lot of the times we do want that sympathy and that comfort, but sometimes it's just not healthy for us to have that. Sometimes you need someone to stand up and just say, well, what the fuck are you going to do about it? If you really don't like the situation, here's a bunch of things you can do to rectify that. If you're not going to do them, then shut up. Because that's the truth of the matter. And this is something that everybody struggles with. It's very difficult, and sometimes it's not even deliberate. Sometimes you just forget those steps, but it's something you should very much be aware of. And if people are starting to pull back from you when you go to them for help, you need to consider why. Because I'm fairly certain if they're really close to you and you need them to stick around, they will. But they're feeling powerless right now because nothing they seem to say or do is doing you any good. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it helped a little bit. These are all issues that I personally have struggled with, which is why I decided to talk about them. But it's also issues I still see. And it's very difficult to try and give this accountability in an entertaining way without hurting people, because these are quite big topics, quite difficult to see. And I'm not saying that this is going to make people hate you if you're doing these things. Fuck it. Clickbait title. Bet it worked. But a lot of times we sit there paranoid and we think everybody hates us. Everybody's turning against us. Oh my God. And all of those things could be wrong, but all of those things offer you a chance to move forward and think, well, what am I going to do about that? How am I going to fix that? Because all of these things are fixable. If you want to make that effort, you can, and it will work. It will pay off. The people that will stick around with you. You've just got to see it that way, okay? And if you are getting paranoid that people are turning for you, that people don't like you, that you're pushing people away, these are the sorts of things to watch out for, because these are the big ones that are going to be doing that. You don't mean them. You're not doing it deliberately. But if you can recognize it in yourself, then you can sidestep the consequences by sidestepping all of it and just being like, you know what, we're not going to do that anymore. And that's good. But yes, thank you for watching. I hope this sort of helped. I hope it made sense. I hope it didn't upset anyone too much, but hell, I imagine it did. If you weren't upset and thought, actually, this guy's got a point, I want to support him financially, guess what? We have ways for you to do that, which would be just fucking fucking lovely. Just amazing. I would appreciate the shit out of it. I really would. Even if you just looked, you just clicked, you just went on there and thought, oh, okay, maybe I don't have the money right now, but later on down the road. Or if you thought, actually, I definitely do have the money right now, so right this second. Either way, it'd be amazing. I mean, it is like so close to Christmas. Maybe we can just, I don't know what date it is because this is all filmed in advance, so it could be past Christmas, who knows. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video, and I guess I'll see you all next week. Bye!